Martin Tyler, and this is Anfield.
Hello everyone and welcome to Game Week 25 Premier League preview and predictions with me, Steve Watkins, in association with Daydreamer Gaming, of course. So I'm going to preview the fixtures for Game Week 25 and give you my thoughts on how I think the game will turn out and my prediction on what the result will be. So these games are being played on the 11th, 12th and 13th of February. And first up on Saturday lunchtime we have Arsenal versus Hull. So Arsenal's last game saw them lose 3-1 to Chelsea, which all but effectively ended Arsenal's title challenge and does see them in danger of dropping out of the top four. Hull, on the other hand, ran out 2-0 winners unexpectedly against Liverpool. There have been some signs of revival for Hull under the new manager, and this victory has gone a long way to sort of to prove that. They are still in the bottom three, however they're now only a point from safety. They're now on 20 points, but only 1 point off the bottom given the results of the last set of Premier League fixtures. In terms of this game, I would be very surprised if Arsenal lost another game. Very rarely see them lose 3 in a row in the Premier League. And again, at home, they should be too strong for Hull. I know I said that against Watford, and I also said that Hull wouldn't be good enough to beat Liverpool last time out, but I was wrong. I don't think this will be the thrashing that it maybe could have been, say, 6 months ago. Hull are a lot more organised now. However, I am going to go with an Arsenal victory in this game. Next up is Manchester United versus Watford. Manchester United's last game in the Premier League saw a very comfortable 3-0 win against a very poor Leicester City side, which extended their unbeaten run to 15 games in the Premier League. They still find themselves in 6th position in the Premier League, however they are edging a lot closer towards that top 4 spot, given the slip-ups that Arsenal and Liverpool have had in recent weeks. So only 2 points off the top 4 now for Manchester United. Watford sit comfortably in 10th, a team that aren't going to make Europe and aren't going to go down. This one, I think, will go in favour of Manchester United. I know a couple of times when they've faced teams at Old Trafford this season that it's ended up 0-0, or the away teams made it very, very difficult for Manchester United. However, I think United are going to carry on this unbeaten streak and run out winners in this game. Next up, Middlesbrough versus Everton. So Middlesbrough losing 1-0 in their last Premier League game to Tottenham. Again, Middlesbrough's lack of goals is their downfall, and they very much find themselves now in a relegation scrap. They're on 21 points in 15th place, only 1 point above the bottom 3, and they're level on points with 2 other clubs. Come the end of the weekend, Middlesbrough could find themselves bottom of the Premier League, but obviously it would depend on other results. But that shows you how tight it is, or how tight it's gotten down at the bottom of the Premier League. Their opponents, Everton, ran out 6-3 winners against Bournemouth in the last game. So the 3 goals conceded probably won't please Koeman. However, scoring 6 is always great. And Lukaku chipped in with 4 goals in that game, which I believe finds himself as the top goal scorer now in the Premier League, 1 more than Diego Costa, Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Alexis Sanchez, who are all on 14. So very much a player in form, very much a player that we know can do this sort of thing and turn up and be unplayable some weeks. As I alluded to earlier, this is a big game for Middlesbrough. They need to get points on the board, or they're going to find themselves, well, they already do find themselves in a relegation scrap. Everton are in 7th place on 40 points. Top 4 is going to be too much for them, but top 6 isn't. However, it would take I think it would take a big slip up and a big slide from one of the top clubs to do that. I think this game will end a draw. I don't expect Everton to have another goal glut like they did last week. It's very rare that you find that sort of thing happen. And Middlesbrough are tough at home anyway, so I'm going to go for a draw in this game. Stoke versus Crystal Palace. So Stoke losing 1-0 last time out in the Premier League to West Brom. They're in 11th place on 29 points. Another team similar to Watford, who they're not going to go into Euro and they're not going to go down. So and Stoke can be quite hit and miss at home. Speaking to a Stoke fan I know, he informs me that first half in a lot of the games at the Britannia, they can look brilliant, and then for the second half they come out a different team, and sometimes they draw games, lose games, etc. Crystal Palace had a bit of a shocker in their last Premier League game. They found themselves 4-0 down at half time at home to Sunderland, who are also scrapping for survival in the Premier League. Very un-Allardyce-like for a team of his to concede a lot of goals. I think he prides himself on, working from the back, making that solid before, and grinding out victories and grinding out points that way. He's done it at Bolton. He did it at Sunderland. I thought I thought things were settling down now for Palace after their win at Bournemouth, but this, by all accounts, was pretty embarrassing for Crystal Palace. And they find themselves level on points with Sunderland, in 19th position on 19 points. So they are 2 points off safety, only a point behind Hull. A victory. Crystal Palace need the win more than Stoke do. However, again, this is a tough one to call. This is a game that I would probably leave off my accumulator, and I don't expect Crystal Palace to concede as badly as they did last week. I expect them to be a lot more solid defensively, and whilst they need the win, a point would show some mini signs of things are going to get there, and maybe Crystal Palace have enough time to get themselves out the bottom three. I'm still of the opinion that Sam Allardyce has come back into club management too early after the debacle and embarrassment of the whole England situation. I don't think he should have. I think, in fact, my opinion would be that he should have got a job in a different country. Keep him away from the spotlight a little bit. I mean, people seem to have forgotten about the whole England thing very quickly and moved on very quickly, such as the fast pace, news machine that is Premier League football. There's always something that grabs the headlines, something different that grabs the headlines on a daily basis. So I'm going to go for a draw in this game, which could be good for Palace. Depends on what the other teams do around them. Talking of Sunderland, they face Southampton this weekend. As I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, Sunderland picking up that 4-0 win at Crystal Palace. They do remain bottom of the table, but they are level on points with Crystal Palace, and again 2 points from safety. It's so tight down at the bottom of the table. There are 6 teams, 7 teams maybe that are all there's 6 that are definitely scrapping. There's one that's going to be looking over their shoulder a little bit. Southampton not in a great run of form. Lost a couple of games. And got beat last time in the Premier League, losing 3-1 at home to West Ham. The League Cup final may be on the players' minds. I think the sooner that comes for Southampton and the sooner that game is played, the better, and they can concentrate on the Premier League, picking up a couple of wins and making sure that they are safe. Southampton's are currently on 27 points, so they're 7 points off the drop. So they're not totally safe, but you know, given that the teams below them can all be, you know, pretty bad at any given time, I think Southampton will be okay. That said, in this game, I do think Sunderland are going to continue with this form, and they're going to win in this game, which would be massive for Sunderland. It would see them go on to 22 points, so you know, even temporarily, they would climb out of the bottom three if Crystal Palace failed to win at Stoke and Hull failed to win at Arsenal. The next game being played, or the next game on my list, sorry, is West Ham versus West Brom. It's a very much a middle of the table sort of game, which doesn't really mean anything already, even though we're not even at the middle of February yet. West Brom have had a superb season. Tony Pulis has worked really well there. Berahino's been sold now, so any sort of potential, you know, of players being upset by other players has now gone. It doesn't seem to have affected them. I think Pulis made his stance on Berahino very clear from the outset. So they've just carried on, and they've been great this season. West Ham, very indifferent. We know the problems they've had at home. They've taken some heavy defeats at home. They've not settled into this new stadium. The fans, by all accounts, don't like this new stadium. However, the players have now got to get on with it. This is West Ham's home ground now, so the players have got to get used to this stadium and start picking up points and making it feel like a bit of a home. Andy Carroll's in great form for West Ham, and there's been talk this week of should he get an England call-up. Obviously, Carroll himself has said he would always make himself available for England. And he probably does deserve a call-up if you look at English strikers in the Premier League this season. The only one that is scoring goals is Harry Kane. Jamie Vardy's doing nothing. Daniel Sturridge is doing nothing. Rashford has been played out on the left. So, you know, why wouldn't you call Andy Carroll up? It may be your only option. That him and Defoe, but you know, I'm not sure whether Defoe will get called up for England again. Anyway, let's not dwell too much on England. Let's concentrate on this fixture. I'm gonna go again. I'm gonna sit on the fence with this one. It's a bit of a tricky one. I'm gonna go for a draw in that fixture. The evening game on Saturday sees Liverpool take on Tottenham, which is the game that you are currently watching now. This is FIFA 17 being played on the PlayStation 4, and currently Liverpool are 1-0 up. So, which is what Liverpool fans will be hoping for at the weekend. They're in a very bad run of form at the minute in both League and Cup. They haven't won in their last 5. They're losing 4 of those games and drawing 1 to Chelsea. I wouldn't say there's pressure on Klopp, but there's a few questions being asked, and like I said earlier, they find themselves slipping out of they've come out of the top 4 now. They are in 5th place, but they're only a point behind, so it's very much on in terms of that getting that Champions League spot. They have the team to do it. Their style of play can sometimes be absolutely fantastic to watch. I do wonder whether some of these players have got it in them to play this high press all season. I don't know. I'm yet to see. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see how the rest of this season pans out. The top 6 is so tight. Other than Chelsea, that are seemingly running away with it, it is very tight. 2 big teams are going to miss out this year in terms of Champions League football. So the race for 4th, I think, is going to be the big thing that will be talked about come the end of the season. I think 1st is sewn up. 2nd will probably be between Tottenham and Man City, and then the race for 4th between 3 teams. You know, Manchester United are probably in the best form out of those 3 teams. When I say those 3 teams, Arsenal, Liverpool, and United themselves. So, you know, they will be looking over their shoulders a little bit, and Liverpool, and wondering, God, are we going to slip down the table? Are we going to slip below Everton, which is not what they would want? That's for sure. Tottenham, as I said, are currently in second place. They're 9 points behind Chelsea, but they could close that gap to 6 points with Chelsea playing on the Sunday. They will obviously want to keep Chelsea, keep on Chelsea's heels, so to speak. Tottenham are a side that I'm beginning to get a bit of admiration for myself, which is not something I thought I would say after last season. Great manager, brilliant squad, a good core of English players, as I've mentioned before, which is something that I do always like to see. So yeah, Tottenham are you could argue Tottenham potentially got the strongest squad in the Premier League. That would be a good debate to have another time. I'm going to go for a Tottenham win in this one. I'm going to go, I think Liverpool's misery will potentially continue. And it's not because I want to see Liverpool slip out down the table or anything like that. I did tip them earlier on in the season to win the Premier League. But such is football, that teams that you don't expect to do anything come steaming through. And the teams that look great at the start of the season fall away. So I'm going to go for a Tottenham win on this one. More questions will be asked of Klopp if that does happen. And, Manchester United could find themselves above both Liverpool and Arsenal come the end of the weekend. We shall see. So on to Sunday's games, and first up we have Burnley versus Chelsea. Burnley's home form is absolutely superb. It is the reason that they will stay up this season. Their away form, on the other hand, is very, very poor. They've only picked up 1 point away from home all season, which is the worst in the Premier League. If their home form could be converted into their away form, then you could be talking about Burnley being in a European spot, which would be crazy for a team like Burnley, for a team of that size and their spending power. But they're not in that position. Their away form has let them down. Home form, though, is brilliant. As I say, it's the reason that Burnley will stay up this season. They are very strong. They're very solid at home. They make it difficult for teams. And fair play to Sean Dyche. He is his second attempt in the Premier League. He's obviously come up with this formula for winning at home, and he's recognised that for a team like Burnley to stay up, they need to pick up points at home. They play a Chelsea side who, I've said before, are top of the table, 9 points clear. If Tottenham lose their game and Chelsea win this, they'll find themselves 12 points clear, and many will believe that will be the title over. It all depends on how Tottenham do, of course. Chelsea ran out 3-1 winners in their last game in the Premier League against Arsenal. Lovely goal from Eden Hazard in that game. By all accounts, a fairly comfortable win for Chelsea. They are my tip to win the Premier League. They are my champions-elect. They've got some great players in great form. So they're my team to win the Premier League. However, in this game, I do think they are going to drop points, and I think that they will draw against Burnley. I think Burnley will make it very difficult for them, which will be, if Tottenham can win, that will, keep the title race in, it won't make it seem like Chelsea are running away with it. Sunday afternoon, we have a huge game. Down at the bottom of the table, Swansea are at home and they face Leicester City. So Swansea, in their last Premier League game, losing 2-1 to a Man City. It's not always, most teams will go to the Etihad and lose, and 2-1 is not a bad thing. Swansea do find themselves now out of the bottom three due to their two wins prior to the Man City game, and they are level on points with Leicester, who quite frankly look like a team that are going to get relegated without a fight. Sunday's game against Manchester United was utterly pathetic. The players are showing, for me, they're showing no effort. They're a shadow of the side they were last year. Some of them look tired, some of them look unfit, some of them don't look like they want to be there. Earlier on in the week I did do a rant video about Leicester City, but unfortunately it wouldn't upload to YouTube, where I did say that I think Leicester will get relegated. I've got to try and be positive as a Leicester fan. After what happened last season, I've got to try and be positive. I don't want to see Ranieri getting sacked. And the chairman has come out this week and given his support for Ranieri, and Ranieri himself has said, no, the players are behind me. Now, you know, it was a good press conference in terms of PR and making the club look good. I still don't think everything's rosy in the garden, and regardless of what division Leicester are in next season, I don't think Ranieri will be the manager. Fingers crossed, for my sake as a Leicester fan, Leicester can stay up and he can walk away with his head held high. I've got to back my team here. We need the win big time. We're only 1 point off the bottom 3 and could find ourselves in the bottom 3 by the time we kick off. I say we, I mean Leicester. I've got to back my boys. I've got to back my team, and I'm going to go for a Leicester win. Because I've got to be confident. I've got to show my support. So yeah, come on Leicester. The final game of the weekend is actually on Monday night, and that's Bournemouth against Man City. Bournemouth looking over their shoulder a little bit. 26 points, 6 points off the bottom 3, and they lost 6-3 last time out to in the Premier League to Everton, which is a bit of a spanking really. To be honest, Man City beating Swansea in their last Premier League game. Gabriel Jesus, however you want to pronounce it, is looking like the real deal. Questions have been asked this week whether Aguero still has a future at Man City. The club have said he has. I personally think he will leave in the summer, and this potentially could be Man City's time to cash in on Aguero, given his age and given that Man City can go out and pretty much buy anyone they want anyway. You know, Aguero owes that club nothing. He's won 2 Premier League titles there, FA Cup, or is it 2 FA Cups? I think it's just the 1 actually. So yeah, Bournemouth have struggled since they had that game against Arsenal where they were 3-0 up and ended up drawing 3-3. They have struggled since then, and Eddie Howe has recognised that himself. As I say, Bournemouth will be looking over their shoulder. Man City away from home can be very indifferent. However, I do think this will be a Man City win in this game. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. If you have liked this video, please make sure that you do hit the like button. Also, this video is on the Daydreamer Gaming channel. It's easy for me to say. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you're a gamer, there is something there for everyone. There is loads of content. We've got 3 or 4 regular, people that are regularly updating and streaming and creating other content for the page. We've got a great little community going on over at Daydreamer Gaming, so make sure you subscribe and share and tell your friends, and let's build this thing up to what it deserves to be. It's very early days, I know, but we'll get there. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy the Premier League this weekend. I hope your team win, unless you're a Swansea fan, of course. Sorry, Swansea fans. And I will see you next time for another Premier League preview and prediction. Goodbye.